Tomorrow, you could wake up in a world where your father could legally execute you for intimate relationships, a single private act could end your career, and children were trained to serve emperor's whims. Think you know Roman culture? Think again. Here's what history class skips. The Roman Empire didn't just conquer nations. It built a civilization on intimate control, where every bedroom was a battlefield and every private moment could be your death sentence. Welcome to the real Rome. For over 500 years, Rome operated the most sophisticated system of intimate control in history. I've dug through primary sources, Pompeii's ruins, and ancient legal texts most scholars avoid. What I've found will shatter your view of ancient civilization and make you cherish every freedom you have today. We're diving into the dark heart of Rome, where laws made certain acts deadly, women died for pleasure, virgin priestesses were buried alive, emperors turned children into servants, intimacy became a lethal sport, professionals demonstrated acts in homes, and this madness was carved into streets as sacred monuments. If this shocks you, like, share, and subscribe to uncover more hidden truths. Your support keeps these stories alive. Hit that subscribe button and join the fight to reveal what they don't want you to know. Let's expose the Roman Empire's twisted world of intimate terror. Imagine a society where your private behavior defined your public status. In Rome, this was law. The principle was simple but terrifying. Dominance equals power, submission equals destruction. Being labeled passive in intimate moments could cost you your job, citizenship, or life. The Lex Scantinia, 149 BC, made passive behavior by freeborn males a crime, punishable by fines, exile, or death. Accusations alone ruined lives. Senators were expelled over rumors about their private roles. One senator's name was erased from records after slaves reported him in a submissive position with his wife. The term impurum, impure mouth, marked you as untouchable, banned from meals or public speech. Julius Caesar faced this nightmare. At 19, rumors of a submissive role with King Nicomedes IV of Bithynia haunted him for 40 years. Enemies mocked him as the Queen of Bithynia in the Senate, and soldiers sang crude songs during his triumphs. Imagine ruling the world, yet being ridiculed for a decades-old rumor. Rome's hierarchy was rigid. Emperors dominated all, senators dominated below them, citizens dominated freedmen and slaves dominated no one without permission. Breaking this was criminal. Lucius, a citizen caught in a submissive role with a slave, lost his citizenship, property, family, and was exiled, all for an act with someone he owned. Legal terms for intimate positions shaped court documents and social status. Men lived in fear, avoiding soft gestures or tones to escape suspicion. Fathers wrote paranoid letters to sons, urging dominance in every act. Why was dominance power? Rome saw life as conquest. Just as legions crushed enemies, men had to dominate to prove status. Submission was defeat, feminization, slavery. This infected business, politics, and religion, creating a self-policing society where fear of accusation maintained order better than any army. Modern cancel culture can't touch this terror. Like and share if you're stunned by Rome's control. Subscribe to see how it echoes today. Now imagine a world where female pleasure was a death sentence. Rome celebrated male desire but made women's enjoyment a capital offense. Showing pleasure, moving, making sounds, smiling, could lead to adultery charges, even with your husband. Your father could legally kill you. Augustus's Lex Julia, 18 BC, criminalized female agency. He exiled his own daughter, Julia the Elder, to a barren island for enjoying intimacy too publicly at parties, banning her from wine, visitors, and the family tomb. Roman doctors claimed female arousal caused hysteria or a wandering uterus. Treatments were torture, ice baths, lead potions, toxic smoke. Sulpicia endured 6 months of this to learn to lie still, declared cured when she suppressed all response. Men boasted of conquests without consequence, but a woman smiling during intimacy risked death. Women formed secret networks, teaching each other to dissociate, breathing silently, relaxing faces. Mothers told daughters to think of accounts, to avoid pleasure. The trauma passed through generations. The term stuprum defined acts violating male ownership of women's bodies, consent irrelevant. Claudia lost her family for laughing with a male friend, accused of looking too flushed. Priests blamed crop failures on female pleasure, calling it a divine offense. Why criminalize desire? It threatened male control. Women's choice was a danger. So Rome turned families into surveillance states, with husbands, slaves, and children spying. Victorian prudishness looks free compared to this. Like, share, and subscribe to expose Rome's misogyny. Picture being 6, chosen to serve a goddess for 30 years, knowing one touch could mean suffocating underground. Vestal Virgins, Rome's sacred priestesses, held power, controlling the eternal flame, owning property, but lived in terror. Breaking their chastity, thou meant burial alive in the Campus Acceleratus. To avoid spilling sacred blood, Rome claimed they were sent to the goddess. The ritual was horrific, dressed as a bride, bound in a litter, carried silently through the city, forced into a chamber with minimal food and water to prolong death. The entrance was sealed, and they suffocated over days. Vestal Cornelia, accused without evidence under Domitian, died to appease imperial paranoia. Men caught with Vestals were beaten to death in the Forum. Marcus Antonius, in love with Vestal Marcia, endured hours of torture as she faced her tomb. Vestals faced relentless surveillance. Priests checked their bodies for impurity, eye color, hair, weight changes. A flushed cheek could trigger accusations. They couldn't speak to men without witnesses or smile at relatives. False accusations were common, often political. Vestal Claudia survived only by a miracle when the sacred flame flared. Selected at 6 to 10, Vestals were taught their purity protected Rome. Defeats or plagues were blamed on their thoughts. Self-harm was rampant, with letters describing nightmares. Their 30-year term ended past childbearing age, leaving survivors as outcasts. Vesta's flame demanded virgin servants, believed to hold magical power. One intimate thought could destroy it. Modern purity culture is a faint shadow. Like, share, and subscribe to uncover more. Now enter imperial bedrooms, where children became servants. Emperors, above all laws, made fantasy state policy. Tiberius turned Capri into a training facility for little fish. Toddlers conditioned for aquatic services in custom pools. Resistors were drowned. Agents kidnapped children, crucifying defiant families. Caligula engaged with his sisters at banquets, forcing senators to applaud, claiming divine exemption from taboos. Nero castrated a boy, Sporus, to resemble his wife. Marrying him publicly, he staged beast games, attacking bound victims in animal skins for crowds. The system was organized. Trainers, drugs, records passed between emperors. Marcus Aurelius's reforms failed. His son Commodus expanded the abuses. Senators offered children for favor, mothers trained daughters, fathers mutilated sons. Power erased humanity. Modern scandals are amateur compared to this. Like, share, and subscribe to expose the truth. Intimacy became a deadly sport. Empress Messalina challenged courtesan Sylla to an endurance contest, servicing more clients in one night. Held in the Subura, it had judges, hydration, and doctors. Sylla reached 23 clients. Messalina surpassed 25, driven by imperial pride. Competitions were mainstream. Gladiators earned freedom through intimate feats. Villas hosted themed contests. Judges scored technique and stamina. Slaves competed for survival, risking injury or death. Stimulants like crushed beetles caused organ failure. Children watched, seeing intimacy as sport. Training facilities, betting houses, and medical specialists supported it. Competitors developed dissociative disorders, unable to form normal bonds. Our hookup culture is tame. Like and share if you're shocked. Subscribe to explore modern echoes. The spin tree, professional demonstrators, turned bodies into manuals. Chosen as children for flexibility, half died in training from injuries. They performed in homes, teaching brides or slaves through live acts. Wedding night sessions traumatized girls who watched explicit demonstrations they'd replicate. Spintree knew anatomy better than doctors, bending joints to the breaking point. Celebrities like Marcus the Flexible commanded high fees. Their equipment, custom furniture, restraints, mirrors, was industrial. Retirement meant pain and poverty, survivors begging in streets. Modern adult content can't compare. Like, share, and subscribe to reveal Rome's horrors. Rome's streets were reproductive museums. Pompeii's stone phalluses pointed to entertainment districts, their size showing quality. Priapus statues guarded homes, amulets protected babies and soldiers. Festivals paraded giant wooden phalluses, crowned by matrons. Buildings like the Meta-Sudans were phallic monuments. Graffiti covered public walls, children playing around symbols. The phallus was divine, normalizing extreme practices. Christianity destroyed these images, but their influence lingered in art. Our billboards are subtle by comparison. Like, share, and subscribe to see how Rome shaped symbolism. Rome built a civilization on intimate terror. Bedrooms were battlefields, marriages courtrooms, virgins sacrifices, children imperial property, competitions death matches, demonstrations torture, streets shrines to dominance. Rome fell because this extremism destroyed its humanity. Emperors lost loyalty, senators couldn't govern, women raised damaged children, men obsessed with dominance failed at partnership. A society that weaponizes intimacy collapses. This echoes today. Politicians legislating bedrooms channel Rome. Abuses of power mirror imperial perversion. Shaming female pleasure continues Roman misogyny. We're recovering from Rome's legacy, shame, performance anxiety, disconnection. Modern freedom to choose partners and pleasure is an anomaly. You live in paradise compared to Roman terror. But the impulses persist. We can learn from Rome or repeat its mistakes through legislation and shame. Like, share, and subscribe to keep these truths alive. Comment which horror shocked you most. Share before it's buried like a Vestal who dared feel human. Those who ignore history repeat it. In laws, bedrooms, and children's lives. Rome destroyed itself through intimate extremism. Will we learn, or add our screams to history's chorus? Choose wisely. Your civilization depends on it.